Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for this teardown. Paula Darling joining us. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it, and we're looking forward to jumping in here. So thank you. So to start off, you're up a little early, right? You're on West Coast.
That's right. You forced me out of bed and get ready early.
Well, thank you for doing this again. We appreciate it. So we've got people coming in now. Already got a lot of people viewing. So, hey, give Paula some love right away. Let's make this interactive. Throw your questions in the chat. I want to make sure that during this teardown, we learn about Paula, what she's doing, how she's finding success, but also the practical steps you guys can do and use to be like Paula. So let's jump in. So, Paula, let's first learn a little bit about you. So you're on the West Coast now. You've had an interesting kind of journey. You weren't always in financial services. So where'd you start?
Right. I have been in a corporate sales role for more than 30 years, and I was focusing on security products, meaning physical security, cameras, video surveillance, ID credentialing, fingerprinting. And I decided after a lot of thought and soul searching that I wanted to do something on my own. So I left that particular role in January of 2020. And I wanted to start my own insurance business because that's something that I'm so passionate about and I can get behind that message.
Sure.
So I started doing that, and then I went to talk to my financial advisor, and I went down the path of taking a job as a financial advisor with a big firm. And I realized very quickly that it wasn't right for me. And part of it was that I was telling people over and over again to put money in tax deferred, knowing taxes are going up. There was something that didn't feel right about that. So I decided that I was going to part ways with that firm in July of this year, 21. And I just decided to go off on my own and use the Shift Excel program to kind of get a jump start. Yes. And that's how I ended up here.
So thank you for that. I want to dissect that a little bit because it wasn't an easy journey, right? You laid it out for us, but you had some things in your way there. And I, like you, also found myself in a situation when I left and went out on my own, in a situation where I just didn't fit the culture of the big firm I was working for. So I know that feeling and that struggle of, am I doing the right thing for my clients or the company or what? So I'm sure there's a lot of people out there dealing with that. So let's back up. You were talking before. So February of 2020, you decided to leave your job and pursue this new career. So that was a significant date because shortly thereafter, some stuff happened. I'm sure we're all familiar with. So
right.
What was that initial struggle or turmoil like when you found out, man, the world shut down, things are changing?
Oh goodness, it was just complete panic because I thought my strongest network is my professional network. I've been working with different companies for my entire career. I thought, how am I going to meet people? And the business model of the firm I was with was door knocking. And I think we all know who that is. That wasn't going to work. We couldn't go into businesses. I was limited in what I could do on social media. So I quickly started to realize this is going to be a problem. It's going to be almost impossible to build a business in this environment. So I continued on doing what I could do to the best of my ability. And then, but that was when I started realizing that my clients that were coming in and talking to me were, they needed something more. They needed something that traditional investments couldn't do for them.
Yeah, we hear that a lot. So, and thanks everyone for your comments coming in. Keep them coming. If you have questions or anything as we're going with Paula here, happy to answer those. So Frank, create your own company culture. That I like that because that's what I think you chose, right? And so I want to we'll talk about who you left for. Who you're working with now, why you made that choice and who that fits. Because I think, and then we'll kind of back up to where we fit into all of that. But I think it's really interesting. I know you're very passionate about helping the younger generation. So maybe you could just talk about your desire there and what you really wanted to do to help them to create your own culture, as Frank said here.
Right. So the reason I have two boys, and so I became passionate about serving millennials, and I have a Gen Z as well. But what I realized is the things that they're facing are so different. They're facing, inflation, rising taxes, a dwindling Social Security system, a failing Medicare system. and longevity alone is going to create a whole different challenge for them, because they're going to be living until they're close to 100 years old, so we have to create a way for them to be hopeful about the future. And so my goal in using Shift Excel is not to just reach a few good leads. I need to reach a whole generation of people. So
awesome. Yeah, very good, very good. So you're at the firm you were at. Things were kind of a weird time with COVID and everything. When did you become aware of Advisorist, and when did we enter your sphere here?
Well, I became aware of Advisorist really early. I was listening to the Power Hours every Wednesday and just taking little nuggets of information, and that was really helping me, and it was motivating me more than anything to join that group of people that were on the same level, having the same challenges, trying to do the same things. So it was so nice to have that, that group of people that I could join every week.
Yeah.
But then when I realized that it was going to be such a challenge to start this business, I realized I need to invest in this, because I really was limited in what I could do to get the business going. And I thought, if I'm going to leave this firm, I need to know that I did everything I possibly could to make it successful.
Yeah.
But
I love that. Well, I think that's great. I mean, the community of Shift Nation, right? So everyone out there watching, a lot of you watching. So give Paul some love here, number one. Let us know you're out there listening. But I think this community, it's been a lot of fun seeing the growth in it over the last couple of years. Jeremiah and the team here have done a ton of work into that. But in our program, in our Shift program, that was one of the unintended consequences. I didn't really know that the community became this bigger thing where people were working with each other. I know a couple of advisors who actually went into business together, and there's all these other things that have been happening. So it's a really cool and neat thing. So, all right. So you made the decision to join Shift, and that wasn't something you did lightly. What was kind of the turmoil you went through, or the mental gymnastics you went through to make that leap to really invest in yourself, in your business, and in your future?
Well, I just knew that I needed to utilize LinkedIn. That was my biggest network that I had going for me. And I have sold to companies all along the West Coast for 30 years, but I needed to get inside those companies and talk to specific people and connect with people I don't even know yet.
Sure.
So that was when I knew that I had to invest. And really, I started calculating the numbers of what do I need to do for this to pay for itself. And it really was minimal. It really, for me, I always look for opportunity. And I thought, the money that I'm investing in, just like anybody else starting a business. It really is a small amount of money when you think of it that way.
Yeah, no, that's great. Cool. And I think that's a unique way to look, not unique, that's the way to look at it, right? You looked at it from a critical standpoint and said, listen, I can do this. I just need to do so much if I put the work in. And that's the thing. Anyone that's going to put the work in, the people that come like you ready to go, that know who you're talking to, we see great things happen. So you've been in the program for a little bit. Great things have happened. I want to jump into that a little bit. I'm really excited today. I hope everyone's excited these things have evolved and they've become very popular. We get, a ton of questions inside of our member area, right? Inside of their Shift program. There's a lot of chatter about these. Everyone wants to be on them. So, Paul, again, thank you for joining us and sharing here. And we're going to jump into some things and really, really take a look. So first, let's look at your LinkedIn profile. I think that's a good place for us to start.
Okay.
Because you did a lot of work there, and this is kind of the introduction. Let me share. All right. And we also promised a little bit of a breakdown here. So, we really want to give everyone tactics and things that they can apply for themselves. Obviously, we'd love you to be a part of our Shift program. Meetwithadvisorist.com if you want to learn more about that. So make sure to sign up. But just kind of looking at this. So right away, there's a couple things I really like about your profile. We call this banner image here like your billboard. Someone's driving by on the highway. They got a couple seconds to look at it. What do they get from it? And right away, the picture you chose stood out to me because I think it shows these generations, and it's becoming more about experience. And right away, I mean, they ran out of gas. They just decided to run along the car. They're just pushing it for some fun. They're pulled off on the side. They're this beautiful, you can't even tell. They're just having fun. They're in this beautiful landscape. And right away, you named your niche. You named the people that you're sending this message to, right? And so it's plain simple, but right away it grabs your attention. So that's the first thing. This is free real estate. And we see all too often not enough advisors taking advantage of this. So number one, take advantage of it, right? Profile picture is great. Wealth strategist is great, using the emojis. And then the USP, I want to step in a moment here, right? We did a breakdown of this, a teardown of this 2 weeks ago with Jeff Lamont. If you guys want to check that out on YouTube, that's there if you want more details on this. In our Facebook group, you can actually go in and request the notes from that. There's this term, high earners, not rich yet, Henrys. Explain to us what that is for the members that are out there that don't really know or haven't heard that yet.
Right. So what the people I want to speak to are those people who are young, successful, they're creative, they're talented, they have gig jobs or they're doing side hustles. They are earning good money. They just don't know how to manage that money, or they have a bit of some limiting beliefs about how successful they could be if they started investing in themselves now. So, and I just learned this from my kids' friends. I thought, my goodness, these kids are starting to make money young.
Sure.
So, I was in my 30s before I made that kind of money, but these kids are in their 20s and they need to know how powerful that is and how many options it's going to give them if they manage their money properly.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And you hit it right out of the box. First of all, again, the two things I like, you're speaking directly, millennials and Gen Z. You're telling these people who they're talking to. One of the things you want to see here is is a reaction from the person reading it. That's me, that's not me, right? It should be very clear. This is why we niche. When they're reading the message, I should be able to identify with it right away if I'm your niche. All right, I identify, right? I think I'm a millennial. I fall in that category, so I know I'm one of those two. You talk about the high earners, not rich yet. Showing Henrys how simple it is to start building wealth now so they can obtain financial freedom. This is not your grandfather's way of investing. And I think two things. You nailed it, but I think you know your niche here. You know the message and you know it resonates with them, because I can just tell, right? You just came in, you put this into place. Have you found that? I know you've had a lot of calls and those 15-minute chats. Do you find that this message is resonating with them right away and they're connecting with it?
Right. Yes. And some of this that you're reading here was really what you and other coaches helped me to do, because I went back and forth on a lot of this. So this wasn't just my doing, but what I've found is interesting is it's creating a lot of conversations, because some people will get back to me just simply to go, to say, oh, I'm not in your niche, sorry. And I said, well, but the thing is, you probably know a millennial. You probably know someone who can benefit. Everybody does, right?
Right.
So it's not just my message. It's something that we all should care about. The next generation of people that are going to run our country. We need to invest in that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think, it's our job as coaches, Brianna, myself, Jeremiah, and our coaches in there to help you get the best version out of yourself. But you guys coming in with who you're working with, knowing the verbiage, knowing the message that you're trying to get is a huge help. So you can have the credit for that, because it was well done. All right. So getting some love in here. Obviously, want to address a couple comments real quick. Facebook users asking what's the link for a conversation about this. So meet with Advisorist. It's up there right now. Jez, thank you. Meetwithadvisorist.com. Check it out. So lots of love here. Some other people leaving Door Knocker Company, we yet to be named.
Yeah.
And then Frank, that is not original. That's a term that's taken on. We have some other members. Henry's is not an original term. It's used by many. It's kind of a general. I don't know who termed it. Do you know who came up with it originally?
No, but I was reluctant to use the term millennials because I didn't want to offend anyone, but I have since found that they relate to that. It's not something they find offensive, but there is this unique group of Henrys. They're high earners, and we're talking about those people that are out there vlogging and doing these YouTube videos, and they're making just a ton of money, and yet it's hard because what they do is post videos about how quickly they're spending it.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your experience thus far, and then we're going to get into this teardown that we promised today. So, you've really had a unique experience, and I love your experience because I think one thing is what we're going to talk about a little bit. You're having this happen early on in the program, which I love. Usually it takes a little while. I always talk about our program. Short term, yes, you want to make money, you want to get sales, you want to do all that. But I've preached and I promise, I firmly believe that any advisor today to be in business 5-10 years from now, and not to be in business, but to thrive in this industry, in this business, you need to become the Google, the Facebook of your industry. You have to collect information. You have to have a marketing list, funnels, and all that stuff set up because things are changing dramatically. We know this, we see it. And the long-term benefits of this program, what you start to see is something you've seen, right? So first of all, you've had short-term success. You've sold policies, you're having lots of meetings, and you're still just figuring out. So share with us a little bit about how the meetings are going, how often you're having them, and sales to date, that you've had success with.
Right. So I am having, I'd say 4 to 6 meetings a week, which is still very conservative. I'd like to be having 2 or 3 or 4 a day.
Sure.
But the conversations have been few and far between, but those that I've had have been really good and productive. And I have 2 clients now that are my ideal client. They are completely on board. In fact, they believe in it so much that they've now asked to join my team. So at first they started as clients, now they're on my team, but they're sending a regular stream of referrals on a weekly basis.
That's awesome.
So that's amazing. But so I've had a lot of conversations too with other people about being strategic partners. So whether they're attorneys or accountants in my area, just to be able to have coffee, and people love that now. They want to, it's after COVID, they want to get out and have a conversation with you, or even just a virtual coffee. But I really focus on learning what they do to find out if we can support each other and what I might be able to do for them to support their business. And the biggest thing I offer people is if you're looking at my network and you see someone that you'd like to meet, let me know. I'm happy to let you leverage my connections and introduce you to anybody that might help you in your business. And people seem to really respect that, and they're returning the favor. But more importantly, I think the most critical thing that's happened for me by using LinkedIn is connecting to these other women. I'm on a team of amazing women right now who are just powerhouses in the industry, and they share the same passion and drive and motivation that I do. And so we're doing amazing things. Like we're traveling the country, speaking to people, we're educating on financial literacy. There's people on my team that have written books. It's just amazing the way that the reach that we have once we connect with a few good people.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the power of this program. That's what I wanted to talk to you about, because I feel like the great thing, you're making sales, you're doing all that, but you're building relationships. You've seen just from the 2 relationships you had, what that's brought to you, and referrals and all of that. And that continues, you're still new in the program. As you get further and further in, you can see how that just starts to expand and to compound on top of each other, right? And so I really want to get into, which I think is really unique, what you're up to. You met some people on LinkedIn, you guys partnered up, and you're about to do some really cool stuff. So spend a little time up. We want to hear about that, because I think this, to me, as you know, I love this program. I used it myself, built this thing. I'm here now, which is great, and very appreciative, and I'm happy to be able to work with people like yourself to continue that cycle, right?
Yeah.
But what you're about to share with everybody, I think is something we don't hear enough of, and I think since I did that program for so long, is one of the biggest benefits. Jeremiah and I met out of that, and now see what's going on, right? So share that story, please.
So I met a lady down in San Diego who had been with the same firm prior years ago, we had realized that we were on a similar journey, and we just connected and had a long phone conversation about what we'd been doing, where we wanted to go. And she happened to say, hey, I've met this other lady on the East Coast and had a very similar conversation. I would love for you to, in fact, she had written a book. She said, I'd love for you to meet her, get connected. She said, why don't you just get that book, read the book, and let me know what you think about some of the strategies she's talking about. So I did that. I got the book and I was reading it and I thought, what? I'm a financial advisor and I don't even have access to these kind of strategies. I need to learn more about this. So I went to the website and filled out information on who in my area was selling these solutions. And yes, it's me that I have dogs. So I'm sorry, you can probably hear them playing. They're like running all over the place. But anyway, so the person who wrote the book actually reached out to me and we had a conversation. And she just said, what are you doing with your life right now? And I said, well, oddly, I was sitting here reading your book. And she said, no, like with your life, what do you want to do? And I said, I don't know. I'm kind of at this place where I know that where I am is not long-term for me. So she said, hey, would you want to fly out and meet me? I want to talk about what I'm doing and, her mission. And so I did that. And my friend from San Diego, we went and we met with her and we all decided that we were on the same path and we're 110% in and we're going to go for it. We're going to change the way people think about investing. We're changing the way they think about insurance. And we're even going to talk to businesses to change the way they structure their retirement programs.
Yes, you're about to travel.
We are. We're going to do a lot of traveling. That's right.
Yeah, that's awesome. Very good. So, Paul, a couple questions here if you want to answer. What's the name of your group and team that you've started?
So we are actually all independent agents. We happen to share the same broker. We're all associated with First Financial Security out of Atlanta, Georgia. Okay. The company, when it started years ago, the foundation of the company is to serve and empower minorities. So you've got a lot of women, a lot of different people that you wouldn't normally see in the traditional sense in the financial industry. And they're just knocking it out of the park. But the nice thing, even though we're all associated with that broker, we all have our own businesses. Mine is Darling Wealth Strategies. But we just are, so even though we're self-employed, we all are banding together and we're traveling together, we're sharing clients together. People love the fact that you're on a team and you can support each other. Sure. So while we don't necessarily have a name for that team, it's just independent agents who are sharing the same mission.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. And what was the name of the book? Some questions about that too.
It was IUL ASAP. Cool. By a lady named Shirley Liu. And if you Google this woman, she is unbelievable. She's being asked to go to speaking engagements. She's on MSNBC. She's won Washington's fastest growing company, Washington, DC anyway. So yeah, she is on a mission to change how we think about investing.
Awesome. And Jennifer, thank you for posting that. I didn't realize you posted that. Thank you. There's another question. So Frank asked, put some thoughts in here. So strategic partner ideas sound good. Realistically, what do you bring to the table? Value up front from your perspective, sales proposition, what's in it for me idea. And I think, so just if I could speak to this, and maybe you could speak to it too, Paula, I think you got to be careful. There's a lot of people on LinkedIn trying to sell their service, their product, what they're doing. And, a lot of the meetings that can come your way are frankly a waste of time. And over time, you're going to learn this. You're going to see patterns. You're going to change messaging. You're going to change the way you do things and start cutting a lot of that out. When I first started, I got a lot of that. I remember my first lead, I was so pumped, huge opportunity, this big business, wanted to talk with me. They just wanted me to sell their product, right? And I'm like, oh. And so once I started to learn that, I was able to navigate to the point where I was having really none of those. But during the initial time I was having them, I found a lot of referral partners and opportunities in it. You just got to learn how to decipher it, and you need to figure out what that looks like for you. And, Paul, I'm sure you had the same thing, but you figured it out. So do you have any insights into that? Anyone looking to utilize LinkedIn for that purpose?
Well, I have a very structured way that I go about my coffee meetings, and what I ask them is, how much time do we have initially? 30 minutes is what we typically set aside, and I tell them I'd love to spend about 15 minutes hearing what you do, and learning how I might support you. What are those flags that should go up when I think, oh, this is a great referral for Joe Smith or whoever.
Yeah.
And then after I said, and then once we've done that, I'll take a few minutes to share with you what I do. And so it's sort of just a general respect that you're giving them a chance to speak and share. And then of course they want to return the favor, right? So, and I'm very specific about, at the end of it, I say, who's a good referral for me? And I will share that with them. If you hear someone talking about, they're concerned about higher taxes, or they're concerned about inflation, or the bonds and CDs in their portfolio, they're really frustrated with that strategy, then those are people that hopefully you would think, wow, this would be a great person for Paula to talk to.
Sure.
And I let them know specifically who I want them to refer to me.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm in the business of helping people get out of debt.
Right. Yep.
So,
yeah. All right. So thanks for sharing all that. I think, again, that's a really great benefit. MeWithAdvisorist.com if you want to learn more about that. And I do want to just give a little disclaimer right before we jump into this. We're going to go over Sales Navigator inside of LinkedIn. And it's a premium subscription for LinkedIn. And we always tell our members, don't start it till you're going to start using it. It's free for 30 days. Actually, Advisorist, thanks to Jeremiah and all the work we're doing with the LinkedIn, we have a 60-day trial now. They've given us a code specific to Advisors that we can use. So I say all that to say, once you use that free trial, whether it's 30 days or not, you lose it. So I just want to make sure you know that ahead of time. Disclaimer, because when you come in, I don't want you to be upset at us or anything. We've now warned you. But MeWithAdvisorist.com to learn more about it. And that's, you don't just give that link out. It's only for our members. We want to make sure the quality coming into that is really good. So with that said, we're going to jump in now. And I know one of the things that, let me share my screen. One of the things I know everyone likes is the notes afterwards. So I'm going to do that again today for everyone. We'll post that on Facebook after this. So this is Sales Navigator, okay? Those of you who haven't seen it. And all it is it's actually, if you look up here in the right corner, Sales Navigator, there'll be a opportunity to subscribe, or that's how you'll access it. And so this is Sales Navigator here. And there's different things you can do, but just to kind of lead filters is where we want to be. This is how you can build custom searches inside of LinkedIn. And so, Paula, we're going to work on this together. We're going to talk through this. Your niche is millennials, Gen Z, the Henrys, right? And
right.
So really, the great thing about LinkedIn is we get all this access, get all these people we have access to, but we're still limited somewhat as to how we search for people. We can't search by sex or age or income or things like that, right? That I'm sure some of us would love. But there's plenty of stuff on here, and you use them and manipulate some of these filters to get the desired result. So we're going to walk through this right now based on Paula's niche. Before I start dissecting how we build this out using these filters here, I want to go to something very, very simple. If we go down here to groups, we start typing, look, the internet generation, Gen Z VCs, Gen Zs and millennials, Gen Z Talks, Gen Z Forum, right? I don't even know how to spell millennials. Millennial, right?
Yeah.
There we go. Millennials. We got all these different groups here. Groups are a great way to find people based on some of the things we can't search with on LinkedIn. Okay, there's lots of groups, tons and tons and tons and tons of groups. And Paul, I don't think you're really using this yet. This is one of the things I actually wanted to talk to you about because we talked before this. You said you're trying to increase your searches and get better results and everything. Have you played with groups at all yet?
No, I was looking under millennials at one point, but it didn't seem like the groups had a lot of people in them.
Okay. And that could be. You got to kind of play with them. The other way to do it is actually right here. You can search the groups. You can type in Gen Z and just hit enter. This is back just on the free LinkedIn, and it's going to give you people that fit it, companies, events, and here are groups. So you can see
Okay.
3,000 members, 500, 400. So you may have to play with it a little bit to find more members. Right, millennial.
And I can just keep adding them to one big group until I have the search of about 2,500.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we keep searching, and that millennial. So you can, again, same thing. You're gonna look for groups here, or my group posts. I'm gonna skip it. Groups right here, millennial marketers. So you got to play around with it and find the groups and find the people and everything. But that's a really great way to find, not just for millennial. Sometimes it doesn't work, right? But if you're looking for, yoga aficionados, people, that with hobbies similar to you, all of that, there's usually groups for that inside of here. Let's talk about that search. So that search that Paula just mentioned is something specific to what we do in our software. It's not available. We don't sell it, but we do have our own software, and we use that software to build searches like on here. 2,500 is the magic number. That's what our system will find. They'll find 2,500 names, but it can be less than that. Ultimately, as you guys are building out your niches and building out your searches, less is more in this case. If you can't find them all right away, just start connecting with the ones you know fit. Because the way LinkedIn works, you got your first degree connections and then your second degree. I'm going to go over that in a moment. And as you connect with people, your second degree connections grow. And so, Paula, you may not be, you may not have many original, connections that were millennials. But as you start connecting with them, we know birds of a feather and everything, right? We know that they're going to be friends with millennials, and that's going to grow. So if you only have a couple hundred to start with, that's okay.
Okay.
You want to be really strong out of the gates, even if it takes a little while to start building that search up to that 2,500 number. It's going to get you really good people and really good searches out of the gates, which is going to give you better results in the long term. So it's worth a little work there.
Okay.
Awesome. All right. Again, meetwithadvisors.com if you want to learn some of this. I know a couple of you asking about the 30-day trial and everything. So Sales Navigator gives you that. Advisors has a 60-day trial. That's what we give you. So meetwithadvisors.com if you want to learn more about that. Okay, let's back up here now. All right. So there's a question here about how do you reach out to those we have no connection to? So let's go to relationship. Let's talk about this real quick. So first degree connections. So if Paula and I are connected on LinkedIn, we're first degree connections. Her and I are directly connected. That's first degree. Second degree connections are people that, so if I'm doing the search, it's people that Paula is connected to. All of my connections, my first degree connections are connected to. So to answer your question, I just got a Facebook user here. Whoever I'm connected with, I get access to those second degree connections. And then there's third degree. That's everybody on LinkedIn. You may not have, you're not connected with them. They're just out there in the LinkedIn universe, right? We don't really want to play there. LinkedIn doesn't like us going and spamming people with people we're not even connected with or know. So that's not really where we want to play with when we're connecting with people. So let's for this, we're going to do second degree connections. Okay. There's geography. And Paul, where are you again? I'm sorry, I forget.
I'm in Oregon.
Oregon, near your West Coast, right?
Yeah.
Oregon. Now you see right away I got 8,500 results. Now this is going to be different. I have quite a few connections. I think I'm like 18,000 connections on LinkedIn. So I got a pretty, broad amount of people I can connect with across the United States. You may not have that starting out with, or if you're looking at different states, you have to build that again. That goes to the original thing we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and I'm still getting questions about Sales Navigator. This is Sales Navigator we're in right now building these. All right, so again, this is not free. It's a premium subscription. 30-day, it does give you a free trial, and we have a 60-day trial. So again, if you're thinking about joining Shift, I really want to, we've had people come in, or they already started their trial. They can't get 60 days free. So I just want to make sure that's clear. All right, we've had to answer that question many times before. All right. So you can go by industry. There's different things in here, right? You can go by school. Maybe you go to your alma mater and start there. You can search by name. Here's where we kind of get into some other things. So I know, Paula, you like to go after owners and partners in companies, because you know the cash flow is there, right? That was something
Right.
you like. So let's look at owners, and you could add multiple here. Now, the other thing you can do, you'll see this little, if I hover over, you'll see this little red, well, it's not red yet, but this little, circle with the slash through it. If I click it, it will exclude that criteria. Okay? That's important.
Yeah, I typically exclude people from the financial industry in my searches.
And that's good. We can go do that. So we'll exclude that, right? And you can go into even insurance, right? So here we'll exclude insurance. Anything else? And this is where you're going to start to refine this as well. So I'll show you that in a moment. But here we have a search. So right now I've got 1,500 names, a little over 1,500. Now, these three things here are very helpful. If you're looking for someone, so again, we can't search by income, we can't search by age, anything like that. But if you want someone that has experience in a current position or at a company or total years of experience, right? So, Paul, you're going after younger generations. So you want people that have, probably this 3 to 5, 6 to 10, probably not more than 10 years, right?
Right.
All right. You can add other things if you want to look at in positions, certain positions or anything. But you can see how we're starting to build this, and we'll keep driving this down. Driving this number down is okay. It's okay. And here's why. Same reason I already explained. Garbage in, garbage out, right? The more specific we are, the better we are at identifying our target market and hitting it with a high degree of confirmation that we're targeting the right group of people. The more our message is going to resonate, the more that the people who actually reply or meet with us are going to be the ones we want to talk to. Okay? So don't be afraid of low numbers to start out with. We can go by companies. We can go by head count. This is another thing I like to do for some of you out there that are looking for, again, we can't search by income. But if you're looking for someone, with more than 10 years of experience, who's been in a position more than 10 years, who works for a large company, odds are their income is where you want it to be, right? So if we're talking about business owners here for Paula, and we're in that 11 to 50 range, even at 50, we can pick whatever we want here, 50 to 200. We know there's probably cash flow there. And they could very well fit in that Henry category. There's plenty of money coming in, but they're not saving it or doing what they're supposed to. Okay, and here's the groups too we can add in. So I'm down to 45 results. My guess is, Paul, yours is a lot higher because you're in Oregon. I'm not in Oregon, so that's one of the reasons I'm a little bit lower here. But again, 45 is okay. It's a place to start with, especially if I'm working in another state.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, Paul, let's talk through these. I got a couple questions here about the connections. And I'm still getting questions about the link, and I knew this was going to happen, so that's why I wanted this. But let me be clear again. If you sign up for Sales Navigator with LinkedIn, they give you a 30-day trial. After that, I think it's $80 a month or so is the cost. We have a special link with LinkedIn they've given Jeremiah and Advisorist, that we give to our members that gives you 60 days. If you start the 30-day trial now, you won't be able to get 60 days when you come on board. That link won't work, right? You get one free trial. So if you're not going to jump on this and start using it, wait to use that trial. We love action takers, though, at Advisors, so we don't want you to wait. If you want to sign up at meetwithadvisorist.com, we can certainly get to that link, if we find that you can come into the program. But we guard that link. LinkedIn's giving us directly. We want good quality people coming into that program. So we do require you to talk to one of our coaches, meetwithadvisorist.com. So hopefully that answers that question. All right, so Paula.
Yes.
There's 3 types of activity. I'm interested. Are you doing mostly connection, like outbound connections, or are you doing first degree or third degree, like email messaging at all?
I just recently ran a first degree campaign because I wanted to just let people know that are already in my direct network what I'm doing, and just to say hi and try to connect that way. But I get the most success and response from my second degree connections. So those will be friends of my friends, and they will often respond and say, thanks for connecting. They're happy to have a coffee chat, that type of thing.
Yep. Okay, great. And so I know there's a couple questions about the type of degrees and who you should connect with. And here's the rule of thumb. LinkedIn allows you to send like direct messaging to people you're connected with, okay, to the tune of about 100 a day. So you can send manually, you can send that many messages to people you're connected with. So you can run campaigns to your first degree messages and send those messages to them. Second degree are people that you're not connected with, but you are connected with people they're connected with. Like first degree removed from people you're connected with. Excuse me. So this group is who you would want to target when you're connecting. All right. So I know a Facebook user asked us, who actually it was Robert. I'm sorry, Robert. So if you're trying to connect with people, only use second degrees. There's a reason for that. LinkedIn doesn't like you going after third degrees because you have no connection to them. You're not connected with them through somebody or on your own. So they don't like that. Okay. Now, when you subscribe to Sales Navigator, you get something called in-mail messages. You're able to send in-mails, IN mails, not emails, right? In-mails, which is specific to LinkedIn. And that allows you to send direct messages to people you're not connected with. Third degree messaging is where you will use that. So your third degrees, you can send the in-mails because you get a certain amount of credits. LinkedIn doesn't mind that. Okay. It's a paid subscription with your Sales Navigator. So I hope that answers that question. Okay. And I would encourage everybody to take advantage of all three levels of activity. And I know, Robert, you're asking questions. So 60-day trials is an Advisorist, through our Advisorist program, our shift program. So meet with Advisorist.com if you want to learn more about that. And that's where we also teach you how to use software to really blow this thing up, put it on autopilot. Because doing all that activity manually is a bear to do. All right. Paula, your coffee chats are all virtual, right? I mean, that's what we coach and teach. Just confirming that to be the case.
Well, I've actually had some in-person meetings. So within the last couple of months, people are just, they're just dying to get out and have face-to-face conversations. Yeah. So I have had a few in person. Okay. But the majority are on Zoom.
Okay. Yeah. And that's the way we would teach you, is doing it virtually. Number one, from a time saver. Number two, it's so generally accepted now. But certainly, if there's the opportunity to meet in person and you deem it worthy of your time, absolutely, that's a great thing. All right. Facebook ask using what you're saying in those messages. That's something we coach and teach in our program, our shift program. We have templates and everything for that. So again, if you're interested in that, meet with Advisorist.com. And you're not just going after women though, Paul. You're going after anyone that fits that millennial, Henry, Gen Z criteria.
Absolutely. Yes. The younger generations.
Yep.
Yeah. Sure. Overall.
So this is the search we built. Paul, is there anything else you do or work on when you're doing this search that you found helpful?
Well, recently I was reading an article about millennials that are moving to Arizona and a couple of other places in the country. So I'm thinking about doing some searches that are geared towards specific states that I am not located and see what that returns for me.
Yep. So this is so let's talk about that for a moment for everyone listening. I think this is the big opportunity to really expand your area, right? Riches and niches. We hear that all the time. We preach that. The reason is because you can create a specific message, as Paul has done here, speak directly to a person, right? And that also opens up your market, especially now with this the virtual nature, with COVID and everything. It's so accepted that now, as Paul said, she can pick areas of the country that are hotbeds for millennials and Gen Zs moving to it, create these searches, and even increase the likelihood of, number one, getting opportunities, these virtual chats. Number two, Paula, you're getting a lot of referrals from those two people you're already working with, right?
Absolutely.
And if they're in that community, I'm sure that's the same thing, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So I love that idea. Using groups is another thing. And this is the other opportunity, as I mentioned, when you look at some of this criteria, colleges, the schools they're studying at, right? Companies, if you know Facebook or Google, if you're in that area, whatever it may be, where there's younger people working there, you can use companies. What this also does, and Paul, I would certainly tell you to check this out too. What this also does is it allows you to create more detailed messages in those second degree and third degree and first degree messages.
Yes.
Hey, Paula, I see that you work at XYZ company. right? And it automatically is creating that personalization, which is very helpful as well. But you can do that at scale as well.
And Chris, one of the connections I made recently was an administrator at a university here in the town where I live. And we're talking about two things. One, she wants me to come in and speak to a group of young people about financial, just financial literacy. Sure. And then she also wants us to meet with her alumni membership team.
Okay.
So this is going to be, she wasn't even a millennial, but she's going to be a great connection for me.
Yeah. And again, a byproduct of this program, which I love, huge opportunities. But that's, again, when you're niching in something and being a specialist and seen as an authority and someone that can help that group of people, that's what happens, right? So that's exactly why we preach niching and specializing. So that's great to hear. That's awesome to hear.
Yeah.
So as we look through, so I just hit search, right? And we kind of look through now. And this is kind of the check, right? Are these people, are they fitting who I'm looking for, right? Do they look like your type of client, Paul? Are we hitting the right target here?
Yeah, I have a hard time seeing. I kind of just look at people too, and I look at the role that they're in, and but I don't exclude anybody because, like I said, everybody that I talk to or connect with knows a millennial. Yeah. So I try not to exclude anyone from that conversation.
Yeah, exactly. And there's kind of always, it's not an exact science these days because we are limited. So there's like an 80-20 rule, I would say that, 80% you're going to hit perfectly. The other 20%, as Paul said, you can still look at them for referral sources or they know your target market, but you're not going to hit it perfectly. So you want to look at this as kind of just a quick check of, all right, am I hitting 80% like I should? And now you know you're on the right track. All right. I want to show you one more thing here. You can save this search, right? We can save this search. Oh, I'm sorry. I think did I lose it? It should be here still. Right here. We can, I hit that right there. So you see, I save this search, right? Gen Z / millennial, and I can date it right to know when I ran it. Oregon. Oregon. And I can set an alert daily, weekly, monthly, or never. And it'll email me when there's new people entering the search. So this is how it works. When I connect with somebody in my second degree, when I connect with them, I get access to all of their secondary connections now, their connections, which become my second degree. And my search grows all the time. And so this will alert you that your search is growing, which it should every time you make a connection. And you'll see these numbers go up on their own. And I can save that search. Okay, so hopefully this is helpful. I want to do one last thing. I want to answer some questions here. I'm going to stop sharing for a moment. Let's answer some questions. We're going to create a document for everybody. We'll share that in the Facebook group. So I know we're still getting questions about that link, 60 days shift, meetwithadvisorist.com if you want to learn about that. And Paul, are you doing securities as well? I got a couple questions on how you work with them. You're just doing life?
I am licensed for securities. I am not focused on that right now.
Okay.
I might get back into that in the future, but mainly because of contractual things that I had with the firm. So.
Yeah. Okay. And then are you doing planning with them as well? Or are you using software, doing financial planning with them?
I relate that to my partners. So these other women that I'm working with are able to help my clients, and that's where that team approach comes in.
Sure.
We can help them with anything.
That's great.
As a team. Yeah.
Yeah. So another reason there, you can work with people. That's another way to pick your strategic partnerships and find them.
Right.
Yeah. As far as like examples of all that stuff, we have that. Our templates are in our shift program. So again, meetwithadvisors.com if you want to learn about that. All right. So let's create a document for everyone here. Paul, I'm going to use your help.
Okay.
All right. So here's how I like to do this here. Let's share my screen again. All right. So we're going to, on the left side, we're going to create there we go. On the left side, we're going to create so I don't know if you know, you can do that. You can kind of create half and half screens there. So on the left side, I got my sales navigator with my search criteria. Okay. So first thing we want to do, first thing, right, is it's right up here. Let me make this a little bigger. Let's go home. It's going to be lead filters. We're going to hit this plus sign that says lead filters. Okay. So we're going to click on lead filters. All right. Then we got criteria, right? Select criteria. Now we're going to go through the important criteria. So geography, number one. We can do it by state. We can do it by region. We can do it by zip. And there's a number of different ways we can do this. And as Paula stated, so Paula, you're in Oregon right now, but you're looking at other states too, just based on where is the hotbed for you to start marketing to.
Correct.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then you're going to do it by relationship, okay? So second's relationship. And we're going to do it by first degree, second degree, and third. So this is a direct. So remember, first degree is to a direct message to someone you're connected with. Okay. Second degree is a connection request, and third degree is an in-mail. All right. Then we'll talk about industry. We want to exclude or include in this, right? Remember that red, the little circle with the line through, you click that, and that's the red slash through there. Again, if you're looking for income, headcount, company headcount is a great way to find people that are probably earning pretty well, right? If they're at a larger company, depending upon if you're searching by title, if you're searching by security level, okay? Next is seniority. And I'm going to put optional here. This is not something you need to use. I would say the others are definitely ones you want to use. I would say exclude, to all of you out there, to exclude people in your industry. It's not optional, but including is optional. Seniority levels, I think that's very important. Or I'm going to put or, because you can also do by title. So I would say either one of those is one that you'll want to use. All right. And then years of experience, years at company. All right. And then, let's view them all here. And this is cool too. Once you run that search, you can actually pull this out and you'll see like all the criteria listed here. All right. So head count. And these are optional as well, I would say, depending upon how you want to do it. All right. Now, the last thing I want to put here is all the other stuff's good, right? We went over that a little bit, but I'm going to put groups too. Actually, let me make this its own category. Criteria to use to personalize, okay? I think groups is a great way to do it. I think school, company.
Yeah, I'm excited to try groups because I hadn't focused a lot on that particular search element yet.
Yeah, so these are all really good ways to use to personalize as you're kind of looking through here. This. Now you can also use the keywords. Keywords allows you just to type in a word and, mother, father, whatever you want to do. and see if you got any searches coming in from that. So that's another one I would say. And this again is optional. All right. So I'm going to post this in the Facebook group in a little bit, so be sure to check that out. I'm going to stop sharing now. That's kind of just the outline of how you use Sales Navigator search. I'll add a little bit more to that, but for the sake of our time here, we've got a couple minutes left. So number one, thanks everyone chatting, listening, watching, all of that. We've had a steady group of you all watching this thing, so thank you. Everyone give Paula some love and thank her. She's been awesome, giving us all this information. Lots of great comments and questions coming from it, so hopefully this was very helpful. I personally enjoy these things. I'm grateful for the opportunity always, but I feel like there's a lot of good information here to help you guys kind of keep moving forward. So I don't see a lot of love for Paula yet. Come on, people. Give Paula some love here. And Paula, thank you very much. This is all great stuff. Very good.
Thank you.
Very helpful. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, anything you'd like to say to everybody? I know you're very passionate about this. Anything you'd like to say about, what you're up to and what you're doing?
One thing I did want to say is if there's any young people listening in that have any interest in being in the financial industry, some of the most successful people that we know at FFS, not that they're directly on my team, but they are the ones out there doing TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. I'm getting there. I tried one the other day and my kids just looked at it and said, what is that? So I've got to kind of perfect that. But we have people in our company that are doing amazingly well building their businesses using those other social media platforms. So no experience necessary. Reach out to me if you want information. Yeah, and I think
that's a great point. You're getting lots of love now. Thanks everybody. Paul deserves it. You got into the program, you're still young in it, you've already making sales, you're getting referrals, you're about to go on this countrywide trip with people you've met through LinkedIn. So what would you say to anyone sitting on the fence deciding if this program is the right thing or not? What do you think?
Just do it. Just do it. How many sales? I don't even know. It's a ridiculous 2 or 3 sales before it pays for itself. Yeah. So
I think you're at 8 now, I think is what you told me, right?
Yeah, we are not getting any younger, and there's a whole world of people out there that are desperately needing to hear what we have to say. So I say go for it. You have to go all in.
All right. Paula, thank you so much. Last comment here, I'll mention financial education is critical to everyone's success. I think that's really important. You're doing that with the younger generation.
Yes.
Great stuff. I'll put a little plug in because this is really my kids. I started using Stockpile as an app. I opened accounts and they buy stocks. I put $10 a week into it. They put their own money in, which is cool. And they're buying fractional shares. My 3-year-old wants to buy Minnie Mouse, and they have little their tickers are symbols of those things. So financial education at a young age is great. And there's lots out there for you guys to do. Technology's made that possible. So thanks everybody. If you want to learn more, please go to meetwithadvisorist.com. Again, we have that 60-day trial of Sales Navigator. So if you're contemplating starting to jump into Sales Navigator and start to build these searches and use that, speak with one of our coaches first, meetwithadvisorist.com. We'll share how we do that and our coaching, our templates, all that stuff that's in there. I look forward to anyone that joins because I love working with you all. So, Paula, again, thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Say hello to Jeremiah.
I will. Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.